So I've decided to take on a rather gargantuan project. Have you ever heard of the series Devilman? I'm sure you've at least heard of the Netflix adaptation Devilman Crybaby, but let me tell you, that is not the only Devilman out there. It's the most recent in the timeline of many adaptations. So I had a crazy idea. Since I love Devilman so much, why don't I cover every single piece of Devilman media there is? I'm talking reading every manga, watching every movie, every TV series, and even playing the video games, and also the tie-in manga. Now, that list looks something like this. And let me tell you, it's no small feat, especially considering that I also work a full-time job and I'm the only editor on my channel. So needless to say, it's going to take quite a while to make this video. Considering when I started, I got an hour in and the entire thing crashed. And from that video, I'm projecting this thing to be at least 4 to 5 hours long. So needless to say, the task ahead of me is quite a difficult one. However, I've come up with a small idea that may help me throughout this process. So you're not waiting 6 years for the next upload. I've decided that I'm going to take some of these, not all, but some of these individual pieces of media in the Devilman timeline and make them their own video. Now, the reasons for choosing which ones changes. I may think they're interesting, I think they might fit better as a standalone video, but in the end they all will be combined into this one larger video. Which brings us in today's subject, Devilman 1972. Devilman 1972 came out 1 year after the finalized manga adaptation, and for all of you screaming in the comments, I don't technically consider Devilman Dante, as it does not have the Devilman name, and even though there's only 1 year apart between this manga and the TV show, they couldn't be any more different. Sure, they share the same characters and some of the same plot elements, but these are completely different. While the manga is quite biblical and dark and hopeless at times, the TV show is more of a superhero show, which kind of makes sense when you consider the name Devilman, but it's kind of a standout in the larger series as a whole. Devilman likes to keep its darker, gritty undertones, having a lot of nudity and very violent gore, as well as having very mature and adult themes. Not to say that Devilman 1972 doesn't try from time to time, but overall it is way more lighthearted and more like a superhero show, being Monster of the Week and all that. But that's not to say Devilman 1972 isn't loved. In fact, I'd say it's kind of what made Devilman the icon that it is. It was really popular in Japan, and probably besides the manga itself is why Devilman is such a popular series. Now, it probably wasn't that well known in the US for a few reasons. One, there is no English dub of it, as there are for other anime adaptations of its time. Not to mention the whole Satanic Panic. To be fair, the Satanic Panic happened more in the 80s, and this came out in 1972, but you cannot doubt that the seeds were there, and I doubt that a very Christian concerned states at the time would allow something that clearly is not very holy. I mean, it has devil in the name. But with that summary done, let's kind of dive into Devilman 1972. Obvious spoiler warning ahead. Devilman 1972 starts off with the episode The Demon Tribe. Here, we see the Demon Tribe, as the title points out, and we're greeted with the Demon Lord Zeon, and he's talking to two of his subjects, one of them being Devilman. And immediately I'm going to call out one of the first changes that is quite notable. They don't call Devilman Amon, he's just Devilman. His demon name is Devilman. Now, I kind of understand making it very simple for the audience, but seeing that for the first time was quite a bit jarring. And I'm going to point it out, this is my first time seeing this design of Devilman. I had read these three before, and they had this sort of black and brownish Devilman, and seeing this Devilman for the first time had me immediately thinking,
what's wrong with you? Why are you blue?
Other than that, there are a few changes right off the bat, but let's get back into the story. They're discussing on how they're going to infiltrate the human world, and Zeon comes up with a plan that they're going to infiltrate it from the inside out. Aya taking places of humans, living their lives, and slowly planning their takeover, guerrilla warfare style. Luckily for them, Akira and his father happen to be hiking in the snow on an expedition. And the pacing is really weird because they fall, and it looks like this, and it is really, really goofy. Akira dies on impact, which was also very jarring for the first time, considering that in almost every other adaptation, he is the main character. Instead, Devilman possesses his dead body and goes on living the life that Akira would have had. Akira is then adopted by his best friend's family and his high school crush, Miki. After meeting Miki, Devilman feels the feelings that Akira had for her before his passing. And in doing that, that lightens his heart. Feeling love, joy, and hope for the first time, he decides that he doesn't want to completely destroy humanity, because there are people like Miki in the world. Now, he isn't good instantly, he still has evilish tendencies, but overall he just doesn't want to kill. He wants to experience these emotions for himself, even though he doesn't quite understand them. Understandably, this makes the Demon Lord Zeon really angry, and he calls Devilman a traitor, and then proceeds to send demons after him to kill Miki and retrieve Devilman. And that's sort of where the story goes from there. A Monster of the Week situation, where a new devil comes after Devilman and Miki. Devilman first aired July 8th, 1972, till April 7th of the next year. So, little under a year. And in that time, they managed to make 39 episodes, releasing every single week without missing. But despite how relatively short it is, and short-ran it is, there's a lot of content that they try and pack in here. Despite it being 39 episodes, I could comfortably say that they have 3 seasons, even though they're not listed as such. But you can clearly tell what mini arcs they are trying to push, while trying to make it episodic, just in case you were able to turn on the TV. You could catch a random episode, still understand what's going on, and probably enjoy it. They also try and push passive character arcs, and we do see that they are different characters from the beginning of the story till where they end up in the end. Devilman is often aware that its formula can be a bit, for lack of better words, formulaic and can get stale and repetitive, and they will try and spice it up. They'll try and add new twist characters, which they'll probably get rid of at the end of the season to add in new ones. They add new characters, new threats, and new stakes. They even try experimenting with changing character designs. For example, they try and change Akira's outfit, but they can never decide if they want to stick with this design that they add later on, or his classic yellow shirt that they started off with. They also try newer things with the animation. However, I must say a lot of the fight scenes feel the same, with them normally ending in the exact same way. And I'm no animation expert. I think it looks really good, especially on the new Blu-ray that you can watch it on. However, you can see things like reused animations and funny little errors. One of my favorites being, in the very last episode, there is a close-up shot of Miki's father, who throughout the entire series has always had a mustache, and they just forget it. And then he has it back again in the very next frame. Like, this isn't like a glance by, this is like a close-up. And I find that really, really funny. But besides that, the show looks really good. The fight scenes are really good, and the demon designs are really good. I'd say Devilman, besides maybe Black Clover, has some of my favorite devil and creature designs out there. Compared to other Devilman properties, it tries to be way more comedic. And by that I mean it has the usual slapstick of the time. But, you know, for what Devilman 1972 is, it works. There's some jokes that don't really land for me, being products of the time. Like, I don't like that Miki's teacher and the way older principal are like pining after this high school aged girl. That doesn't sit right with me. But other than that, I think a lot of the jokes are funny and do land well. And sometimes it's unintentionally goofy due to some of the pacing of things and like amazing sentences like this. It's sort of a breath of fresh air, considering how dark and gloomy the rest of the series can be. Don't get me wrong, that's one of the key aspects I love of Devilman. But throughout the series as a whole, it's nice to have something lighthearted, and it is sort of a good entry point into the series. And this is not to say that Devilman 1972 does not have emotional moments. There are a few here and here, but overall they try and go for a lighter tone, and again, try and make it more superhero-y. For Devilman's advertisements of him always sort of being portrayed as a superhero, I'd really say that this is the only iteration where that is true. Unfortunately, where most of this is attributed to is the cut of one of my favorite characters from Devilman, being Ryu. Now, I understand that they can't have this light-hearted tone while having him there. He is, like, egregiously violent, and what happens with his character later, I won't spoil that if you still want to watch the normal Devilman, or read the normal Devilman. They can't really have a light-hearted Ryu for an entire series. So unfortunately, they scrap what is my favorite character, and who brings some of the best moments of Devilman in my opinion. I will say, as much as I enjoyed the ending, I do feel like there's a bit of a cop-out, because Devilman really never fights Lord Zeon. He fights his sort of doppelganger, who's literally named God, and after he defeats him, he sort of just drives away off into the sunset, and it does sort of have like an official ending vibe, but like the threat is still out there. And at the end of the day, Devilman's adventures could continue. It feels like one of those where they did not know if they would get more episodes or not. So it's sort of a 50-50 ending, if that makes sense. But overall, I wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as I did going into it. I think Devilman 1972 is a rather unique entry of the Devilman franchise. I would not say it's my favorite, and I will be making a tier list video later where I will show you where I think it stacks up to the rest. But for what it is, Devilman 1972 is really enjoyable. And if you are a fan of Devilman, I strongly encourage you giving it a watch. I'm really glad it was archived, because unfortunately, not all things dating back to that time got archived very well. And it's even on Blu-ray in very nice quality. So if you ever get the chance to watch it, I would watch Devilman 1972. As always, thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe. It's been a while since I've done one of these, like, after the video credit things, but there are a few things that I need to announce real quick. As far as the rest of this Devilman project, it is taking me a bit longer than I initially thought, because I decided halfway through not to, like, get into, like, legal trouble. I am buying all the official Blu-rays and stuff like that, so I don't get in trouble for ripping and whatever. So I'm trying to do that. Also, I'm trying to build up a physical Devilman collection, because I think it'd be nice to show off at the very end of this review type thing. So that is also getting a little bit expensive. But overall, I think it's worth it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So as far as the uploads go, I do think I'm going to break up a few more of the Devilmans into their own individual videos, and then they will be changed up when I make them into the larger video, but consider me having like 90% of a segment done and switching it to flow better in the video. As far as other projects go, I am working on another figure project. I know the last one really wasn't received very well, but like, I really enjoyed doing it, so sorry if you don't like those, but I am definitely going to make another one because I really want to. If you are very distraught about the time in between uploads, I would strongly recommend you check out Cassie's channel. I'm surprised I haven't officially shouted out yet. They've started a channel like towards the end of last year, and they're doing very well. They make really good analysis videos, so if you like my analysis videos like these, I'd strongly recommend checking it out. They are a lot more consistent than me, and they're like twice the quality. So if you want to not wait forever for my stuff with nothing in between, I'd strongly recommend checking out their content right here. But yeah, that's it for now. As always, thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe.